Hey, it's Joe, and I've got a new video for you. This is a kind of unboxing because it's already unboxed, but this is a review on the Shamanic Healing Oracle Cards by Michelle A. Motuzas. The oracles are lovely. I've seen them in use. A friend of mine has been using them for a while, and she uses them live on Twitch, as I'm planning on doing. And I absolutely love them. I think these are fantastic. So let's get the box out of the way. The box is not bad. It's not too bad. It's kind of shiny, so it's going to pick up a lot of fingerprints relatively quickly. It's not very large, but it's quite thick. And interesting enough, there's this little tag, which you might think, oh, something's sticking out. Well, it's so you can open it. It's got like a slightly magnetic thing catch that actually will snap shut. Now I need the little hinges, of course. So you literally got to pull it. So that's quite an interesting touch. So that's the box. Nothing too special, but it's nice. Then we've got the little booklet, which is always nice. It's in full color, and it's got a description of every card. It's not a very long oracle deck, but it doesn't mean that's the last card. And so there's 44 cards. It doesn't mean that it's better because it has more cards. It just means it has more cards. And I absolutely love these. So not much on the back of the book. There is a spine because it's quite a thickish book. So it's quite nice. It's got a few spreads, a little bit of an introduction. It's got a couple of spreads. And then it goes into the oracle cards, and it's got a bit of a closing back. That's about it. But I think it's adequate. And what I like about these cards is that, again, they are not airy theory. They are practical advice, which you could apply in your life or use them as additional information in your readings. Okay. So I've kept the best for last. The sides. They're gold. Who doesn't like card plated sides of? I'm still astounded. I love the gold. I hadn't seen that they were gold, so it was a surprise when they arrived. So they're actually absolutely lovely. The backs aren't plated, but they're just lovely. I love the images on this, and that's why I decided to buy it for myself. So I'll get into a little bit of what I like about them as I'm starting to flip them over. So again, as always, start with the first card. They're very slippery. They're very new. They have just arrived, so they are going to be slithering all over the place. Before I carry on, they are slightly shiny, but they're not highly glossed. So if you're, for example, online like I am, down here it's going to be fine. But they do pick up a bit of light, as you can see as I'm pointing them to the light. The back is similar. But they're not high gloss. They just got a bit of a gleam, which is quite nice. If you want to get an idea for the artwork, let me tilt that to the light. It's all pastels, which is really, really lovely. And all of the cards are this kind of detail. I like it because they're hand drawn. They're not just sort of computer generated graphics, which I do. I also do them, but it's nice to see something that is drawn by hand. Right, so there's the first one, and I'll keep them both. I'll just keep them both on the table, and then you can see both of them as I'm flipping over. Again, I like the actual meanings and interpretations of the cards because they're not this sort of airy-fairy kind of stuff. And anybody who knows me, I'm not really into the whole, I love mythology, but I'm not really into the whole mythological, the lady of the forest and blah, 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 blah. So I like these. I think part of the attraction is because I'm drawn to the Maya, and I have for many, many years, and I'm probably going to be moving into the area soon. So the shaman cards just appeal to me. I absolutely love the sort of very sort of down-to-earth, natural kind of advice, as opposed to advice that might be very mythologically, very exciting, but it doesn't really have a lot of help in practical applications. So I like them. If you know the tarot, there are a few cards that are very similar, like death. The interpretations are generally pretty similar. But again, I love the way they are drawn. I love the whole sort of natural feel to them. And I had to have my own copy. So here we go. This is my own copy. I'm intending to use them tonight. And they are a little bit dark. I think possibly it's the colors are relatively dark, but I think it's also the printing than it is, but they're still lovely. Also, when it comes to color and printing, it's not always an exact science, but I do like them. So I intend to use them not so much as tarot cards, because I don't think you can use oracle cards properly as tarot cards. I intend to use them as confirmations for my readings, as further advice, and sometimes just to pull a card for the evening, for example. That's when I often do that on my Twitch readings, is that I will pull out a card to represent the evening in general, and I usually have it up at the top of my corner of my table. So that's probably going to be what I'm going to be using them for. The cards are also very consistent. They've all been drawn by the same person probably, or at least in a very, very similar style. They are very, very, very kind of ethnic, one could say, which I really like. I like the sort of very down-to-earth kind of feel for the cards. There is quite a bit of sort of, I suppose, South American symbology, but it's just lovely. And I keep saying that, but I am absolutely over the moon with them. And I'm so pleased they arrived quite early. And so I can use them early. The advice is always very, very usable, as opposed to just nonsense that really doesn't help the person you are doing a reading for. You want something that they can take the advice and put it into use in the real world without, having any kind of mythological associations with it. And I'm all about practical advice. So I'm going to speed up the flipping through. As always, if you like, you can always pause the video and have a closer look at each card. But to keep the video length a little bit shorter, then I'm going to go a bit quicker through the cards. Again, I like having the two together, because then you can see them together and it doubles up. There you go. The colors are quite the pastel colors, which I like. So they haven't been, and another thing, they haven't been overly computerized. They haven't been overly digitized. So they don't have that sort of harsh, overly saturated feel, which is quite nice. Almost like somebody sat down and drew them on pieces of paper, pieces of cardboard, and then just that's what we're using. I know there's a trend for oracle cards and tarot cards that are very sort of photorealistic, but I still prefer this because we shouldn't be looking at the images nearly as much as we should be intuitively getting a message. So this kind of thing for me is a lot more useful. And I also, of course, encourage you to look at the book, read all the. I always advise everybody read the entire booklet first and get familiar with all the cards before you start using it, because otherwise you just find that you're constantly referring to the book instead of just feeling intuitively and getting a feeling for it. You're just constantly looking at the book. That's not always a good thing, to rely on the book too much. So read the book. Get familiar. What I suggest is you take each card and you go through the book and you sit and you look at the cards and you focus and you meditate on each one until you get at least a familiarity with it. So when you start using them, that you have a familiarity with them. So even if there's no way people are going to remember all the readings straight off the bat. I don't. I certainly don't. But I tend to start getting my own kind of intuitive messages regardless anyway. So it's good to know what the originator thought of the meanings. Anyway, we're almost at the end. I do hope that you've enjoyed this this little review. It's not quite an unboxing because I like to open things up and have a look, see what's inside. And there's nothing fake on this channel, so that's why I'm dead honest with you. Imagine there was unboxing something and there was nothing in it, or there was something wrong with it. Like this, you're going to watch a video and there's going to be something in the box. Now, shuffling. They tend to be a little bit on the sticky side, but that's because of look how lovely it is. It's because of the gold. The gold tends to make the edges stick together. So they're not the easiest to shuffle. They do come together very nicely, very, very satisfying when they come together. They make such a beautiful edge, as I showed you before. So I almost guarantee that with a period over a period of time using them, they already are starting to slide over each other a lot easier. I found that the cards were actually stuck together again because of the plating on the sides, but that's a minor thing to have to live with. So there you go. The cardstock is again not overly thick. I'll pull one out. They're relatively thin, but not paper thin. I don't abuse my cards. I don't like planks. I like thinner cards that tend to shuffle easier without hammering into each other. So for me, they're perfect. If you're expecting planks, then these are not planks. There you go. I think that rounds things up. If you enjoyed this review, do consider leaving a like on the video. Follow the channel if you enjoyed this type of content. And I hope to see you soon. Have a lovely day and see you soon.